Hey everyone, welcome back. Time for another deep dive. And today we are knee deep in AI news. Feels like every time I refresh my feed, bam, something new pops up. New tools, funding news, even some big names jumping ship. It's a lot.
It really is. It's like we're seeing a seismic shift happening right before our eyes. And today's news, well, it kind of feels like the aftershocks.
And that's why you're here, to help us make sense of it all, to connect the dots and figure out what it means for, well, for everyone,
Okay,
really.
sometimes it feels like AI is evolving faster than we can keep up, so taking a step back to kind of analyze the trends and figure out what it all means, well, that's crucial.
Couldn't agree more. So let's kick things off with the biggest name in the room. OpenAI. They've been making headlines left and right from new product launches to some pretty, well, eye-popping financial figures. They really have.
Yeah.
And it just goes to show how incredibly high the stakes are right now in this, well, this race to develop and deploy advanced AI. OpenAI is placing some big bets, no doubt, attracting massive investments, but they're also facing some pretty intense competition.
Talk about competition. Their latest move seems to be a direct response to rivals like Anthropic. They just launched this Canvas feature for ChatGPT. The idea is to make writing and coding more collaborative.
It's a clear sign that they're really focusing on the user experience. They're recognizing that people want AI tools that can do more than just answer particular questions.
Right. It's like they're turning ChatGPT from a brainstorming buddy into a full-blown teammate. But here's where it gets really interesting. They just secured this massive funding round, valuing them at, get this, $157 billion. But here's the catch. They're also projecting a $5 billion loss this year. Talk about a high-stakes game.
It's true. The financial world is glued to their every move because these numbers really highlight just how much it costs to develop advanced AI. I mean, think about the computational power alone, and that's not even mentioning the cost of attracting and keeping top talent in such a competitive field.
And speaking of talent, one of their top researchers, Tim Brooks, recently made a high-profile move to Google DeepMind.
Yeah, that's a big one. It really highlights the fierce competition for top AI talent. Brooks moving to Google might mean that Google's really pushing to dominate this space, seeing it as the next big thing in AI. For OpenAI, well, losing a key player like Brooks could have some pretty significant consequences, especially if their own video generation project, Sora, faces more delays.
It makes you wonder what's happening behind the scenes at OpenAI. Are these departures just growing pains, internal disagreements? Or is it just the allure of new opportunities in a field that's changing so rapidly?
It's probably a mix of all of those things. OpenAI is in uncharted territory, trying to balance groundbreaking innovation with, well, the realities of running a profitable business. These recent leadership changes tell us there are some tough decisions being made.
It's not just about poaching talent for Google. They're building their own AI arsenal. They just launched this new AI reasoning software. It's designed to go head-to-head with OpenAI's models.
That's a fascinating development. This software, especially its use of chain-of-thought prompting, shows a significant leap towards AI that can, well, think more like humans.
So it's not just about understanding language anymore. It's about understanding the logic behind it, right?
Hmm.
And then applying that logic to solve complex problems.
Exactly. This development has major implications for fields like software development, scientific research, anything that needs complex problem solving.
It's like Google is trying to build an AI that can not only pass a test, but also explain every step of its reasoning.
That's a great way to put it. However, even as Google is pushing the boundaries of what AI can do, they're also getting some heat for how they're integrating AI into their core products.
Yeah, those AI-powered overviews and search results. Now they've got ads mixed in.
Right. It's a classic dilemma. Balancing cutting-edge innovation with, well, monetization. Google's got to make money from their AI investments somehow. But if they overdo it, if it feels intrusive to the user, that can backfire.
It's like when someone tries to sneakily slip a sales pitch into a casual conversation. Timing is everything.
Exactly. Finding that balance between providing genuine value to users while also generating revenue is going to be crucial as AI becomes more embedded in our digital lives.
Seems like they're walking a tightrope, trying to find that sweet spot between innovation and making sure they don't alienate their user base.
For sure. It's a balancing act we're going to see across the board as these technologies become more powerful and, well, more common.
So while OpenAI and Google are battling it out for AI supremacy, there's this whole other wave of innovation happening beyond these tech giants. One company that's caught my eye lately is Flux, with their impressive new text-to-image generator, Flux 1.1.
Flux 1.1 is definitely generating a lot of buzz, and for good reason. They've made some serious progress in image generation, especially when it comes to speed and quality.
Yeah, this new version is being hailed as a potential game changer, even giving those big names like Midjourney a run for their money. The article that blew me away was this comparison between 1.1, its predecessor, and some of its competitors. 6 times faster image generation, amazingly high resolution, and, get this, blueberry mode.
Blueberry mode. It's a catchy name, right? But it actually represents a major leap in image quality and realism. But beyond the tech specs, what's really exciting is how Flux is making creativity more accessible.
Okay, hold on. I need a quick explainer here. For those of us who don't speak developer, what exactly does an API do, and why is it such a big deal?
Think of an API like a set of tools and instructions that help different software programs talk to each other and work together. So with Flux's new API, developers can basically take Flux's image generation superpowers and plug them directly into their own apps and platforms.
Gotcha. So instead of just using Flux on its own, developers can now weave it into the very fabric of their software.
Precisely. Think about what that means for graphic designers, video game creators, architects, anyone who relies on visual content.
It's like handing creative professionals a magic wand, the ability to whip up high-quality visuals with incredible speed and ease.
Exactly. It's breaking down barriers and democratizing access to these tools. And this trend of increasing accessibility is something we're seeing across the board in the world of AI.
And it's not just about pretty pictures, right? This shift towards AI tools that anyone can use has huge implications for how we work, how we learn, how we interact with the world around us.
You're absolutely right. One area where this is crystal clear is the workplace. A recent study found that one-third of American workers have already used AI tools like ChatGPT or Google's Gemini for work stuff just in the past week.
Wow, a third. AI is already embedded in how people are getting things done, and it's only going to become more prevalent.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that a lot of this adoption is happening organically, with employees figuring out how to integrate AI into their workflow, often without their bosses even knowing.
It's like a silent revolution is happening in offices everywhere. People are quietly using AI to work smarter, streamline their tasks, even get an edge. The article I read called these folks secret cyborgs.
Secret cyborgs. I like that. It really highlights the disconnect between how individuals are adopting AI and what companies are aware of. While employees are using AI to do their jobs better, companies are still playing catch-up, trying to figure out how to manage and integrate these tools.
It's almost as if employees are a step ahead, seeing the potential of AI to change how we work, while many companies are still trying to understand the rules of the game.
That's a great way to put it. And this disconnect creates both challenges and opportunities. Companies need to figure out the ethical considerations, the data security concerns, and the potential job displacement that people are worried about. But on the flip side, this is a chance to boost productivity, encourage innovation, and gain a competitive edge.
So it's not just about saying yes or no to AI. It's about being smart and figuring out how to seamlessly integrate it into a company's culture and how people work.
Absolutely. Companies need to shift their thinking. Instead of seeing AI as this scary thing or a magic bullet, it needs to be treated as a powerful tool, but one that requires careful consideration, ethical guidelines, and adaptation as things evolve.
This reminds me of something we've touched on before, the idea of companies needing to invest in their own AI R&D.
Exactly. Gone are the days of just grabbing an off-the-shelf AI solution and hoping for the best. Companies need to really understand their data, how they do things, and the specific challenges they face in their industry if they want to unlock AI's full potential.
So it's about tailoring AI to their needs, not just implementing it for the sake of it.
Yes, it's about encouraging a culture of experimentation where employees feel like they can try things out, share what works, and even what doesn't.
Because sometimes those failures are the most valuable lessons. It's about embracing the unknown, being willing to learn as you go, and always adapting to the ever-changing landscape of AI.
And that brings us to a really important question. How can companies build this culture of adaptation and make sure AI is being used responsibly?
That's a big one, and one we should definitely unpack further. But before we get too far down that road, let's zoom in on how AI is already transforming different industries. I mean, these big picture trends are fascinating and all, but sometimes it's the real world applications that really capture the imagination.
I couldn't agree more. So where should we begin? What's caught your attention?
Well, one area that's just ripe for AI disruption, and one that's always fascinated me, to be honest, is the world of software development.
Oh, for sure. It's like every day there's some new AI coding tool
Mm.
promising to like change how we write and debug code forever.
And some of them are actually living up to the hype. I was reading this research roundup earlier about this new AI system called Trans Agent. It's designed to translate code between different programming languages, which is, well, anyone who's ever tried it knows it's insanely hard, even for seasoned programmers. Oh, tell me about it. Just glancing at the code snippets in the article, my eyes glazed over. It's like looking at ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics.
Exactly. But that's what makes TransAgent so remarkable. Instead of just doing these word-for-word translations, which usually just creates more errors, it uses this team of AI agents to really analyze and understand the code, you know, the
Mm.
meaning behind it, the intent.
Hold on, rewind that a bit. A team of AI agents. Are we talking like Mission Impossible here, secret agents and all?
Not quite that dramatic, but you get the idea. Think of it like a group of expert code breakers, each with their own specialty, working together to crack this complex code. That's basically what TransAgent does. It takes that code translation process and breaks it down into smaller, more manageable chunks, each handled by an AI agent that's like an expert in that specific area.
So, like, you've got one agent looking for syntax errors, another one matching up equivalent code blocks, and maybe even one that specializes in those tricky semantic errors that can really trip up traditional transpilers.
Exactly. And because they're working together, these agents are getting much better results than some of the most advanced code translation techniques out there. And the impact of this is huge, especially as companies rely more and more on these global teams and everyone's using open source code.
Yeah.
Imagine seamlessly integrating code written in different languages. No more manual translation nightmares.
It's like they've created a universal translator for coders, breaking down language barriers so they can work together more efficiently.
Exactly. And this is a prime example of how AI isn't just about automating tasks, but about, well, making humans even better at what they do. And speaking of augmenting human capabilities, another area where AI is making incredible progress is in video analysis.
Don't even get me started. As someone who tries to edit their own videos sometimes, it's a total time suck.
Right. But AI is poised to totally transform how we work with video. There was this really interesting article I came across about how Google's using their Gemini AI. It can automate all these different aspects of video analysis, things like generating transcripts, creating subtitles, and even suggesting ways to make the content better.
Wait, hold up. You mean to tell me this AI can watch hours of footage and practically write the script for me?
Practically. It can analyze all the content, pick out those key themes, and even suggest different ways to structure the narrative, like which moments to really highlight, that kind of thing.
That's insane. It's like having this whole team of editors and content strategists at your fingertips.
Exactly. The applications here are endless. Education, marketing, journalism, even scientific research. Imagine teachers using AI to create personalized educational videos for each student. Marketers generating hyper-targeted ads based on like real-time analysis of what people are watching. Scientists analyzing hours of experiment footage in the blink of an eye.
It's amazing to think about how this kind of tech could open up video creation and analysis to anyone with a story to tell. But it also makes you wonder, where does it all end?
Hmm.
What's the ultimate goal for AI?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
Yeah.
And while it's impossible to say for sure what the future holds, one thing's for sure. AI is going to be woven into every aspect of our lives. The tools we use, the choices we make, it's all going to be touched by AI in some way.
It's kind of exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Totally. But I think that if we can embrace this sense of curiosity, if we can stay adaptable, we can actually harness this power for good. We can shape a future where AI makes our lives better in meaningful ways.
It's about being proactive, right?
Mm.
Instead of being afraid of what we don't know, we need to educate ourselves, experiment with these tools, and have real conversations about what it all means from an ethical standpoint.
Exactly. Those conversations are crucial. As AI gets more powerful and more embedded in our lives, we need to make sure it's being used in a way that benefits everyone.
Couldn't agree more. But speaking of navigating this new AI landscape, there's one thing we touched on earlier I want to circle back to. Those secret cyborgs we were talking about, those folks using AI in secret at their jobs.
Oh, yes. The stealthy AI adopters.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating phenomenon. And it highlights the need for greater transparency, for more open conversations about AI in the workplace.
Because right now, it feels like a lot of people are using these AI tools under the radar, maybe because they're worried about the consequences or unsure how their boss will react. And that lack of openness can create a whole host of problems.
Absolutely. When people feel like they can't be upfront about their AI use, it creates mistrust. And it prevents companies from truly reaping the benefits of what these tools can do. Plus, it makes it harder to come up with clear rules and ethical frameworks for how to use AI responsibly in a work setting.
It's like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake at the same time. You're not going to get very far, and you're bound to cause some damage along the way.
Perfect analogy. Companies need to foster an environment where employees feel comfortable trying out AI, sharing their wins, and even their losses. Because sometimes those failures are the most valuable learning experiences.
For sure. It's about cultivating a mindset of learning and experimentation. AI shouldn't be seen as a threat, you know? It's a tool for empowerment.
Well said. And that requires a shift in how both employers and employees view AI. Companies need to provide clear guidelines, ethical frameworks, and the support people need to use AI responsibly. At the same time, employees need to take responsibility for their own AI use. Transparency is key, and a willingness to learn and adapt is essential.
It's a two-way street. And those organizations that figure out how to make this work, the ones that can foster transparency and encourage responsible AI adoption, those are the ones that are going to thrive in this new age of AI.
Absolutely. We can't just rest on our laurels. We have to be constantly learning, adapting, and evolving right alongside these technologies.
The only constant is change, right? And with AI, that change is happening faster than ever.
No doubt about it. But instead of feeling overwhelmed by it all, I think we should see it as an incredible opportunity for growth and discovery.
That's definitely the right attitude.
It's all about having that beginner's mind, that sense of playfulness and wonder. Remember those insights we talked about earlier? How kids often get AI faster because they're not afraid to experiment? It's about tapping into that same energy.
It all comes back to that growth mindset, doesn't it? It's about being open to new possibilities, always asking, what if?
Exactly. And that's something we can all cultivate, regardless of our age or how much we know.
So as we kind of wrap up this part of our AI deep dive, what are your biggest takeaways? If our listeners can only remember one thing, what would it be?
The future of AI is not set in stone. We're writing the story as we go. And we all have a part to play in shaping where it goes from here.
And that is a fantastic point to remember. Speaking of incredible possibilities, there's one story we haven't had a chance to really dig into yet. Remember that mind-blowing video we saw, the one with the cat that looked like it was running in slow motion? I just assumed it was made with OpenAI Sora, but it turns out it was something else entirely.
Oh, now you've got me curious. What was it?
So, that cat video, it wasn't Sora. It was made with something called Pika 1.5, a new text-to-video model.
Pika 1.5. Okay, now that changes things. I swear there's a new AI breakthrough every day now. It's easy to miss what's happening outside the OpenAI and Google bubble.
Right. It's like trying to watch a tennis match where the ball keeps teleporting to a different court. Okay, so Pika 1.5. Lay it on me. What's so special about it?
Well, from what I've seen, Pika 1.5 is turning heads because it gives users this incredible amount of control, like cinematic elements, motion. It's not just about getting a video from text, it's about directing that video.
And that's a game changer, not just for making cool videos, but for so many fields: education, marketing, even scientific stuff.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is how Pika Labs is going about all of this. It's playful, it's accessible. Remember the cat video? Well, apparently you can make any object explode, melt, or even turn into a cake.
Okay, now that's just fun. But you're right, there's something really smart about that approach. By making AI engaging and, well, fun, they're making it less intimidating, encouraging people to just dive in and play around.
Exactly. Remember how we were talking about how kids just get AI? It's that beginner's mind, that sense of play. Pika Labs seems to get that.
It all comes back to that growth mindset, doesn't it? Being open to new possibilities, not being
Yeah.
afraid to ask, what if?
Absolutely. That's a skill we can all work on no matter how old we are or what we do. It's about embracing that growth mindset, staying curious, and never losing that sense of wonder. That's what drives real innovation.
So as we wrap up this AI deep dive, what's your biggest takeaway? What's the one thing you really want our listeners to remember?
The future of AI, it's not set in stone. We're all writing this story together, and we all have say in how it unfolds.
And that's a great note to end on. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this deep dive. It's been an incredible journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep that curiosity alive.